Okay, so this is my final impression of Demon Copperhead. I really enjoyed this book. There's people in here that obviously you're not gonna like, which Stoner, Demon's mom. Fast forward towards the end, and then there's the people you like, which is Miss June, Miss Peggy, Demon, but that you can make an argument for him that you don't like him, but you meh. And Agnes, I love her. She is my favorite character in the whole entire book. She is the only one that actually stuck with Demon the whole time and actually helped him with his journey. But we're gonna talk about Dory for a little bit. Dory was driving me nuts because homegirl decided, hey, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna get strung out on drugs every day. And we're gonna make my little boyfriend over here get strung out on drugs and get addicted. But no, they get a house together and she just becomes this dope fiend. All she wants is just dope. And when they're in the house together, all they do is she stays at home strung out while Demon's over here busting his butt working to support them. But no, she don't care. All she wants is some dope. So she stays home. Yeah. And then she just got on my nerves. We don't like her. We're gonna talk about fast forward now. He became this drug overlord that became like everybody's go-to drug guy. And then when they were at the devil's bathtub, he did. He dies. Because he's so doped out and that he saw Hammerhead Kelly's pit rifle that he thought he was going to shoot him because over Emmy. But no, he was really going to go help him and try and get him off the cliff. But no, didn't happen. And then overall, this book for me is one of the best things I've read. I love how Kingsolver utilized the opioid thing in Kentucky and Tennessee and all that in the Appalachia area, because for me, I honestly never knew what that was, and through reading this, it opened my eyes to what people actually go through when they're strung out and how they can change. You just have to be willing to change. Like for Demon, he went to the sober living house and he got his life together. He started working at Walmart like his mom. Maggot, on the other hand, poor little Maggot, he ended up going to jail because he was part of Kelly's death because he supplied him the drugs from when they were going to the devil's bathtub to confront fast forward because of that girl. I forgot her name. But overall, Maggot, for me, had character development change because you didn't see him in the beginning all on these drugs. You didn't see him actually start to express his sexuality. More towards the middle you did when he started wearing the nail polish and chopped his hair off looking all goofy. But towards the end, he gets a little boyfriend. And he is the reptile guy at PepSmart. His boyfriend is. I don't think it mentioned the boyfriend's name. But Maggot's mama, Martha or something like that, she ends up getting out of jail. And they meet back up. And they live together, which I thought was really great. Because he finally gets to have his mom in his life when she left when he was a baby because of what happened with Romeo, who is baby daddy. But overall, this whole thing is it's a real big eye-opener, and it lets you know what actually happened to these people without having to physically look it up. Granted, you can probably find out you most likely can find way more about what happened in this. This is just told through fictional characters, the story of it, but overall I think it's easier to read when it's fictional characters and not the actual people, because then you're going into actually things that happen to them. Granted, stuff that Kingsolver chose to write about in this book did happen, but she told it in a way that it was more easy to read than having to look it up, because if you look this up, you're gonna get sad over it. Granted, this will make you sad at times, but not in a way the actual research would, because you go in to find actually how many deaths happened, you'd find out what all they decided to use. But overall, this whole thing is just, I love it. It is one of the only books that I have read throughout my high school career that I've actually liked and enjoyed reading, and it was not hard for me to read. I was actually excited to have to read this. Granted, we didn't have to, but we did. But it was just the easiest thing for me to end up reading, because, like I said, it's a big eye-opener, and it just lets you see what happened. We're gonna talk about Demon a little bit. So, Demon, my boy, he started out as this kid. He had major character development for me. First, he had his mama, who was a little dope fiend herself. And then she got Stoner, who was the boyfriend at the time. But he was abusive. He did all this yada, yada, yada to Demon and Mama. Mama would not stick up for Demon. So all this stuff happened. Fast forward a little bit. Mama dead because she overdosed on herself. And Stoner refused to call 911. But when they get to the hospital, I'm the husband. I called. What do I need to do? And then when you really find out that it's Demon who called, you're like, you didn't do anything, Stoner. And then further on, Stoner's like, bye, get out of my life. So he ends up going to the farm where he meets, fast forward, he meets Tommy, he meets Swap Out, and there's another one. I don't remember the name, if there is another one. And they all become friends, which staying friends with Tommy was a good thing. Staying friends with Fast Forward, he needed to kick rocks a long time ago. I thought he needed to kick rocks when he first supplied these little 9-year-old boys with, or 12, however old they were, with some drugs. When you just, I'm the football star, I'm gonna do all this. No, you don't need to be supplying little boys with drugs. Oh, he drove me nuts. But this whole thing is just, like I've said, real big eye-opener. I would 100% recommend this to anybody, and I really enjoyed it. Thank you for letting me read this.